The 1999 Detroit Auto Show was dominated by retro-futurism. Automakers looked to the past with their production and concept cars, but Cadillac looked to the future with their Evoque concept. At first glance, the hardtop convertible looked to be a clean break from what the brand was producing at the time. In contrast to the horizontal lines their production cars used up front, the Evoque utilized sharp vertical lines. The difference is most apparent in the lamp configuration. The Evoque had upright headlamps that crept onto the hood, and directly under them are large rectangular fog lights. The front of the car points outward, like an arrow. Perhaps the most distinctive feature on the car can be found on the side, where a sharp crease runs from the wheel well to the middle of the taillight. These are thin and stretch onto the trunk. A brake light that spans the space between the taillights initiates a crease like the one up front. From here, the bodywork goes inward and then shoots out to meet the taillights. The lack of chrome on the car indicates the modern direction Cadillac wanted to take with the design. There are several distinctly Cadillac touches as well. It carries over the egg crate grille that had been on Cadillacs for years. The headlight foglight configuration is meant to reference the dual units that were on Eldorados and Devilles in the 60s. The taillights are inspired by both Cadillac's iconic fins and the 67 Eldorado units. This radical new direction was spearheaded by Kip Wasenko. His career with GM started in 1969 after graduating from Art Center. He worked his way up and eventually became chief of design at Oldsmobile in 1993. In 1997, he was transferred from Oldsmobile to Cadillac. Wayne Cherry, then the vice president of design at GM, tasked him with coming up with a car for next year's Pebble Beach. The concept, dubbed Icon, expanded in scope after the Cadillac division struggled with coming up with a replacement for the Catera. Wasenko and his team were now responsible for setting Cadillac's design direction. The brand had decades of cars to draw from, so retro-futurism was tempting. In an interview with Automotive News in 2002, Wasenko said that retro was more of an American domestic fad than global. GM wanted to appeal to other markets, so the idea never gained much traction in the studio. Aside from their own cars, Cadillac strayed away from automotive sources of inspiration. Instead, they looked at Bang & Olufsen sound systems, the F-117 fighter jet, and modern architecture. The car was greenlit, and its styling would lay the groundwork down for Cadillac's new design language: art and science. The first generation of cars were heavily influenced by the Evoque and looked much different than the cars they were replacing. All cars at least had vertical headlights, taillights, an X-shaped grille, a third brake light, and the restyled logo. Most of them also carried over the character line. The units in the back are much thicker than the ones on the concept. The STS and DTS taillights go straight up and don't have any sort of curve to them. Essentially, the three cars following the Evoque were the closest to it. The Escalade had a more subdued take on art and science. The changes stick out when lined up next to the previous model. This one has a sharper grille and restyled headlights. The brake light and solid red lamps are the only things that separate this generation's Escalade from the other GMT 820 SUVs in this regard. The CTS and STS were built on the then new Sigma architecture. With this new platform, Cadillac was able to lengthen the wheelbase while reducing the overall length of the car. The two cars have short overhangs that mimic those found in the Evoque. The Converj debuted at the 2009 Detroit Auto Show. It was conceived as a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. This dictated the proportions, as the car had a very short hood and cab-forward design. The A-pillar cuts down under the windshield. The signature line now cuts into the body and gives the car deep shoulders. The car also introduced the waterfall headlamp configuration. The fog lights are styled in a way that makes them look like a continuation of the headlights. The taillights stretch nearly to the window. There's another feature that resembles a vent on the side. The interior ditched the ultra-modern themes introduced by the Evoque and took a more futuristic approach. It incorporates aluminum, dark wood trim, and leather. The infotainment system flows from this dashboard down to the center console. The dominating white color and blue highlights give off a cold, sanitized vibe. Cars were influenced by the Converj starting in 2012. The headlights on all the cars sweep back much further than before. The fluid waterfall headlamps can be found in all models outside of the ATS-V. The grille pattern also carries over onto all the cars except for the CT6. There's more chrome on this generation of Cadillacs, which gives the cars less of a contemporary feel. Cadillac Q took on the aesthetic of the Converj center console. It's piano black and had a similar flow. The steering wheel and seat design eventually made its way to their production cars. Cadillac debuted the CL at Pebble Beach in 2011. The car would be the first in a trio of cars designed specifically for the event. The CL was a 4-door, 4-seat convertible with rear hinge doors. It was reminiscent of the land yachts of yesteryear. The headlamps appear to go from one side of the face to the other. A chrome strip runs from the side of the front bumper to the side of the quarter panel. The long rear overhang curves upward and cuts back at an acute angle as it meets the deck lid. This car has a more intimate atmosphere than the Converj thanks to the warmer color palette and oodles of leather inside. The El Mirage debuted in 2013. The hardtop coupe sports a revised logo and unique grille pattern. It retains the waterfall headlamp treatment from the Converj and CL. There is more chrome on this car. The most notable feature in this regard is how the trim from the grille goes up onto the hood and merges into the belt line. The final car in the series, the Escala, is also most Cadillac's recent concept car, debuting in 2016. The headlights and taillights are the most significant developments here. The DRLs are vertical, but the main units are horizontal OLEDs. The car borrows the grille and badge design from the El Mirage, but the badge is a little more muted here. The character light starts near the middle of the belt line and gains weight as it enters the light. The tail lamps have also been given a horizontal treatment. This section points inward, another nod to the '67 Eldorado. We're now seeing just how influential the Pebble Beach series is on the production cars. The CL's impact is mostly limited to the interior, as the cars adopted a similar color theory. The CT6 has a chrome trim that's inspired by it. Cadillac transitioned to the vibrant logo first seen in the El Mirage in 2014, and is currently in the process of doing the same with the grille. We've only seen a few thus far, but the next generation of Cadillacs are heavily inspired by the Escala. The DRLs and main headlamps are a single unit. Vertical lines still dominate, but the horizontal lines create a bit of drama in the designs. The facelifted XTS uses the waterfall and connected styles. Art and science has been so successful because it blends heritage and modernity together, creating a timeless aesthetic that'll, hopefully, help the brand retake its place as standard of the world.